The real story behind this player's downfall is not what you think. There is a secret reason his career ended that nobody is reporting. The final twist at the end of this video will completely change your perspective on everything you thought you knew. You have to see the shocking evidence for yourself to understand what truly happened. They said speed was his gift, but it became his curse. When the news broke that Mudryk had tested positive for a banned substance, the football world barely blinked. It wasn't shock, it was exhaustion. Another golden boy undone. Another headline wrapped in regret. But for those who remember the electric shimmer of his early promise, this fall felt like a gut punch. Less than 2 years earlier, Chelsea had paraded him as the next generational winger, the so-called Ukrainian Neymar, a €100 million investment in prophecy. At 23, Mudryk should have been perfecting his craft, not fighting for his career in legal hearings. His tattoo read talent ain't enough, inked across his neck like a prophecy he refused to understand. The irony cut deep. Talent alone had never been his problem. It was everything else, timing, tactics, temperament, that betrayed him. By the time the suspension hit in December 2024, he was already a meme. His highlights reduced to stumbles and over-dribbles, his potential devoured by ridicule. But rewind to where it began, and you'll see why everyone believed. Before the headlines and hearings, there was that pace. Lightning, impossible, intoxicating. Scouts who watched him at Shakhtar Donetsk spoke of a winger who could teleport between defenders, a blur wrapped in blonde hair and raw nerve. His one-on-one numbers glowed across European data sheets. Even on Ukrainian pitches, you could feel the tremor of something larger, a player who didn't just beat his man, he unbalanced systems. Arsenal saw it first. Then Chelsea entered like a storm, willing to outbid logic itself. 90 minutes of Champions League magic turned into a €90 million chase, sweetened with 30 million more in add-ons. Chelsea's board called it ambition. The rest of Europe called it madness. But in the boardroom, desperation has a way of sounding like vision. The club needed hope. Mudryk became the embodiment of it, a symbol that the project still had pulse. When he arrived in January 2023, cameras caught him smiling shyly beside the Chelsea crest. Yet even then, something felt fragile. This was not a player entering a stable empire. This was a boy thrown into chaos. 3 managers in one season. A dressing room bloated with signings. No rhythm, no structure. A winger who lived on space suddenly found none. In Ukraine, he sprinted through open fields. In London, he ran into walls. At first, there were glimpses, a burst past a fullback, a curling effort flashing wide, a counterattack that nearly became legend. But those flashes never stretched into form. Each mistouch echoed the waiter's price tag. Commentators began to count his bad touches more than his good runs. The nickname Ukrainian Neymar started to sound like mockery. Fans whispered that Chelsea had bought a YouTube compilation instead of a footballer. Still, beneath the noise, there were truths worth defending. Mudryk wasn't lazy. He wasn't arrogant. He was just misplaced. A system player in a system that didn't exist. His greatest weapon is his fast acceleration. Meanwhile, fast acceleration requires trust, patterns, and space. Chelsea's tactics gave him none. Without overlapping fullbacks or coordinated movement, he was stranded. When the team attacked without rhythm, Mudryk's instinct turned self-destructive. Over-dribbling, forcing openings, running the same hopeless channels. Data confirmed what eyes already saw. Across 807 minutes, he lost possession 50 times within 5 seconds of receiving the ball, one of the highest rates among Premier League wingers. His crossing accuracy hovered around 19%. His passes often but rarely from good positions, chasing goals that never came. The numbers told the story of a man running faster than he could think. Managers tried to fix him. Mauricio Pochettino asked for patience. Enzo Maresca benched him entirely. Each change chipped away at his confidence. By the start of the 2024 season, Mudryk's smile had vanished. The cameras caught only tight lips and lowered eyes. He looked like a player trying not to exist. Then came injury, minor but mistimed. 38 days sidelined across 7 matches. When he returned, the rhythm of the team had moved on without him. Youngsters were filling his spot, Veterans were demanding consistency, and fans were out of forgiveness. Social media became unforgiving. Every misplaced pass spawned new memes. 100 million euros for a sprinter who forgot the ball. One tweet read, "The cruelty was endless." Inside Cobham, whispers grew about attitude. Not arrogance, withdrawal. He was quiet, isolated, struggling to connect with coaches or teammates. Language barriers didn't help, nor did the weight of that tattoo. Now a cruel reminder every time he looked in the mirror. Talent ain't enough. Maybe he got it because he knew it was true by mid-season. Even journalists who once defended him began to waver. The stats were too bare. 5 goals, 2 assists, 31 appearances. For a 9-figure winger, that was failure in any language. Yet still, there was something tragic about it. Watch closely and you'd see the ghost of brilliance. A perfect run that ended in hesitation. A clever feint followed by a wild shot. It was as if his body remembered what his mind had forgotten. Then came December 2024. The test that changed everything. A random anti-doping check returned an adverse A sample for meldonium, a banned substance known to enhance recovery and endurance. Within days, the Football Association provisionally suspended him. No training, no matches, no explanations. At first, fans laughed. Another Chelsea flop gone wrong. But then the laughter turned uneasy. This wasn't a minor scandal. Under EFTA rules, a confirmed doping violation could mean up to 4 years away from football. For an athlete whose value was built on speed, that was equivalent to a life sentence. Mudryk and Chelsea both denied intent. They called it contamination, a mistake, a misunderstanding. But when the B sample also tested positive, the denials lost weight. By June 2025, the FA issued formal charges. Suddenly, his name was not just a punchline. It was a warning. What followed was chaos. Sponsors froze contracts. Endorsements vanished. His legal team, Morgan Sports Law, famous for defending other athletes, announced they would fight to prove lack of intent. They referenced cases like Paul Pogba's, hoping for leniency, but the damage was done. The narrative had calcified. Online, the irony became unbearable. The same tattoo that once inspired fans now mocked him. Talent ain't enough. It was splashed across memes, edited into videos, carved into ridicule. A once rising star, reduced to a slogan. Rumors spiraled next. Some tabloids claimed he was quitting football entirely to become a sprinter. From winger to Olympic hopeful, they said. It sounded believable, the pace, the suspension, the frustration. But his lawyers publicly shut it down, calling it misinformation. He wasn't training for the Olympics. He was fighting for his reputation. Still, the speculation captured something real. That Mudryk was too fast for his own world. His story wasn't about laziness or arrogance. It was about mismatch. The wrong system, the wrong timing, the wrong weight on young shoulders. In Shakhtar, he was a storm. In Chelsea, he became the casualty of structure. What makes his downfall more painful is how avoidable it seemed. Football has always been ruthless with prodigies. The game feeds on potential, but has little patience for growth. Clubs buy dreams, not players, and when the dream fades, they move on. Mudryk's decline became symbolic of Chelsea's era of excess, a club collecting toys without instructions. Inside his camp, some still insisted he would return. Friends said he was training privately, building fitness, waiting for his appeal. But months turned to seasons and the noise quieted. New wingers arrived, new flops replaced old ones. By the time the 2025 season opened, his name was barely mentioned in press conferences. For those who look deeper, though, Mudryk's collapse revealed something about modern football's cruelty. Here was a player designed to joy, fast, fearless, imaginative, reduced in numbers and ridicule. The machine that discovered him also destroyed him. Even his playing style became metaphor. That constant sprinting, the relentless forward motion, it mirrored his life. He could run faster than anyone, but he never learned when to stop, when to breathe, when to think. He chased expectations until they turned to smoke. Analysts later described his statistics like an autopsy. High XG, low conversion. Endless dribbles, no end product, frequent turnovers, rare assists. But behind those numbers was a human being unraveling under pressure. Every misplaced shot was another doubt. Every substitution was another cut. Confidence, once fractured, rarely heals. But there's a scene fans remember from one of his last games before suspension. 90 minutes in, Chelsea already losing. Mudryk receives the ball near halfway. He sprints down the line, leaves two defenders behind, then hesitates, just long enough for the third to catch him. The crowd groans. He looks up, defeated, palms open as if asking the pitch itself what he did wrong. That moment captured everything. Brilliance without belief. Those close to him say he never stopped training. Even after the ban, he kept running. Sprinting alone at empty fields, headphones in, hoodie pulled low. Sometimes, kids recognized him and shouted his name. He'd smile, wave, and keep running. Maybe he was still chasing something no one else could see. His case now sits in the slow churn of legal hearings. If he proves lack of intent, the suspension could shorten. If not, 4 years away from the game will stretch into an eternity. For a player whose brand is acceleration, time is the cruelest enemy. And yet, beneath the wreckage, there remains a strange dignity. Even his harshest critics admit, Mudryk's fall wasn't born of arrogance. It was born of hope. A kid from Krasnarad who believed pace could outrun fate. He just didn't realize that in elite football, speed without direction is chaos. Someday, years from now, a younger player will read about him and see both a warning and a mirror. The story of the Ukrainian Neymar, who flew too fast into the modern football machine and was chewed up by it. But until his case ends, the image remains frozen, a lonely figure, suspended between promise and punishment, haunted by his own inked prophecy. Talent ain't enough. Maybe he understood it all along. Tell me your biggest takeaway from this story. Let me know which part surprised you the most. Share who you think is really to blame for this situation. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to follow for more exclusive content that reveals the truth behind the headlines.